Well, today is a travel day from Munich to Salzburg, and I am sitting on the train waiting to go in about 15 minutes. And so far, we have the entire train car to ourselves, so we'll see if that lasts or not. We didn't get the train car all to ourselves, but it was a good ride. When we arrived at our hotel, however, we were less than thrilled. It felt kind of like a cheap 80s casino hotel room. But again, those are some of the trade-offs for being in an expensive city on a budget. So we dropped off our things, changed, and set out to explore the city. We made our way to Old Town without really much of a plan, but we really just were enamored with the cute plazas and the beautiful architecture. So many cute places to stop and have a drink or have something to eat. And we ended up at the Salzburg Cathedral, which was just absolutely stunning. The detail in the ceilings and the artwork and the architecture was just amazing. Next, we made our way to St. Peters Abbey and the catacombs. These were inspiration for some of the scenes in The Sound of Music, specifically for when they are escaping after their performance at the festival. The actual filming for these parts of the movie were done on a sound stage, but you'll see some of the spots that were inspiration for the film. The gardens were free to enter and to walk around. The catacombs did cost €2 to go up and to take a look through those, but they did have some pretty amazing views for your €2. We took the funicular or rail car up to the top of the hill overlooking Salzburg to check out the Hohensalzburg Fortress. The construction for the fortress began in the year 1077, and it is reportedly one of the largest medieval fortresses or castles in all of Europe. I especially enjoyed the mechanical organ that was installed in 1502 and that they used to let people know when to wake up and when to begin and end their workday. The views from atop the fortress are spectacular, so we decided to grab a drink and try out the local dessert, the Salzburg Knockerl, which is kind of like a fluffy light souffle, and hang out to catch sunset. The next day we headed to the Mirabell Palace and Gardens, another free spot to check out, and another spot where part of The Sound of Music was filmed. This was the scene where Maria was dancing with the children around the fountain and singing Do Re Mi. We are sitting in the oldest dwarf garden in all of Europe here in Salzburg after touring the Mirabell Palace gardens, one of the sites of some of The Sound of Music, which was just beautiful but super crowded. I think we saw a lot of brides here. It's a Saturday. How many brides have we seen so far?
At least 3, maybe 4.
Yeah, apparently one of the most popular places to get married in Salzburg. And after this, we are going to be heading over for our boat tour, which we're super excited about. We made our way down to the river for the river cruise, which was the first part of a tour that was gifted to us by our family before we left. And the second part was a trip to the Hellbrin Palace. The Hellbrin Palace is another big, beautiful palace and grounds that was built in the early 1600s. But the cool thing about this one is that they have the trick fountains. And so everywhere throughout the grounds there are different ways that you may or may not get splashed or squirted with water. And they use the same method to fuel the fountains as they did way back when. You didn't want to get wet?
You could tell where the king sat, or the guy that ran this thing.
The hundreds of fountains found throughout the grounds were designed to surprise and enchant their guests. And more than 400 years later, they definitely still are. I am 16, going on 17. We couldn't leave the birthplace of Mozart without attending a concert, so we returned to the Hohensalzburg Fortress. We got an early start the next morning as we headed out of town to Kixie Lake. After breakfast, we wandered through town, heading towards the boat dock to catch the boat that would take us all the way across Kixie Lake. There's an echo wall at a very specific spot on the lake, and so the boat stops and our guide pulls out a trumpet and starts to play, listening for the echo coming back. Let's see if you can hear the echo. The lake is 8 kilometers long and about 200 meters deep at its deepest point. And it was some of the clearest water that I've ever seen in a lake. It was just absolutely gorgeous. At the end of the lake, you can get off the boat and take a short hike to another alpine lake called Obersee Lake. The lake was super clear and refreshing, and we were really regretting not bringing our bathing suits. After a return trip on the boat, we hopped on a few more buses, making our way to Hitler's Eagle's Nest. There is no entrance fee for the Eagle's Nest, and you can actually hike up to it. But if you want to take the bus, that costs about 30 euro. We walk through a long tunnel through the mountain to the elevator that takes you 407 feet up to the Eagle's Nest. The sunroom is accessible to walk through, but most of the rest of the interior of the building is taken up by a restaurant at this point.
So our trip to the Eagle's Nest today was pretty cool. I don't even know how high up we are, but it's pretty far, and it's a really cool building. Had a nice time, and the views are awesome. Thunderstorm rolling in though, so we're gonna head out here pretty soon. The top of the mountain's about to be covered too.
We're about to be covered.
Wow.
Turn around.
Oh, that's awesome. Bye-bye.
Losing visibility real
Look at
fast.
it. It's kind of swirling right there. It's so cool. Don't get to see this every day. And drinking a beer while doing it.
We managed to stay relatively dry and made our way back into town to conclude our time in Salzburg.